Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Rutland Town Select Board meeting for January 14th, 2025. We're starting at 5:30. We are here at Rutland Town School because we're also going to be doing pre-town meeting. We have a full Select Board tonight. Joe DiNardo, Sharon Russell, Kurt Hathaway, Mary Ashcroft, and Matt Getty. So please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you all. All right. Approval of the Select Board minutes for December 30th. It's in your packet. We were all here.
Move to accept.
Motion's made and seconded to accept. Are there any additions, deletions, corrections? No, I didn't say that, comments or anything else. If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's, anyone opposed? 4-0 in favor. Okay.
You have to pass the pen with it.
Let's see if I can find another. Okay, any board member announcements? No. Update from the Select Board Chair. I have a couple of things. One is a reminder for all department heads and for anyone else who usually writes for the Circle. The deadline is tomorrow. And this will be the edition going to press that will be the only edition before the town meeting. So if you are a candidate for something, if you are a department head with a budget or a ballot request, you will want to write in this about that so townspeople can make informed decisions.
When does it have to be in by Mary?
Tomorrow.
Oh.
Okay, and this is one edition of the...
Give it to Janelle?
Yeah, give it to Janelle. This is one edition we'll want to make sure it gets to the people on time because our town reports will be going out, and then if this is right there too, that will inform them better. Okay, I missed my recycling box here. And then just a reminder, there is a Select Board meet-up among Select Board members from towns in Rutland County at the West Rutland Town Hall. It is this coming Thursday evening at 5:30. If you wish to attend, I've signed up, or Bill has signed me up. And if you wish to attend, there's no charge, and you should let Bill know by tomorrow. Okay. League of Cities and Towns, and lots of other good folks who are similarly situated. Okay. That's all I have. Any questions from the floor or public comment?
Hearing none.
Yep, okay, moving right along. We'll start, before we forget, I'm going to do one thing out of order that's not on the agenda. We have no moderator for the pre-town meeting tonight because the person who was moderator chose not to run, and nobody ran. And so we could do one of two things. We can let people nominate from the floor and take whoever is voted at pre-town meeting, and then we'll have to do it all over again. And the town meeting, the Monday before the voting.
Why don't we just take care of it now?
Well, that's option two, and we
Okay,
can
I
fill a
nominate Matt
vacancy.
Second.
Motion made and seconded
didn't see me,
to
did you?
nominate Matt Getty as moderator until a new moderator is elected
You're welcome, Matt.
to serve. We haven't voted for him
He has
yet.
experience.
He does have
Yeah,
experience.
look at the experience. And then
Also
Wait,
like
if you do
experience.
that until one's found to serve, does that mean that nobody ever has to run for this ever again?
Pretty
until I
much.
die?
Nobody,
Would you like to make a speech or anything?
No.
Okay. All those in favor of Matt Getty as moderator, please say
Thank you.
aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Any,
Oh,
Doesn't do any good, right?
one abstention, okay, the vote is 401. Thank you, Matt, and congratulations. All right,
Make sure you get your thing in for the
yeah,
thing tomorrow.
your petition. Okay, Ed Dumas, Town Police Chief. I don't know how the school board does it like this.
Would you like to go over there?
Okay.
I'll hand these out. Pass them on.
Oh, that's a two-page.
Ed, I have a complaint. I was accosted down at home at Green Mountain Plaza by two jerks.
Two checks.
And I said to him, I'm not very big, but you see these little feet? My mother taught me many years ago, and trust me, I will use my feet. And he called me that C word, which was not very nice.
You didn't run over him?
No, I was gonna have Ed,
Run over
You know
him?
who it was? This.
no, it wasn't one of mine,
Yeah.
because they know better.
Okay, Chief.
Okay, so if you go through, on this sheet right here gives the totals for the last 5 years. And their increases last year in the 2020 went down 23, but this year it went up 58. If you look at this sheet here, you'll notice that starting in September when the funding for the homeless program started to go away, our calls for service at the Cortina, the south end of town, started going down. It did pick up a little bit in Christmas for people who have to do their Christmas shopping. So it did go up slightly there.
They didn't buy me anything.
Yeah. The other, we tried to run the numbers for the year, for the other form, but Valcor won't let us do it, I thought one time we're gonna do it in 3-month increments and get more exact details, so next time we have a meeting,
Okay. Any questions about these stats? Now that Christmas is over, what's it feeling like down the south end?
things have, well, it was a little bit of an uptick, but not like it was before.
They have to get ready for Valentine's.
What's that?
They have to get ready for Valentine's.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. All right.
Matt, do you want us to address the question you had on the, as far as the SRO that Ted asked you about? Or you asked
If
about?
you can, or we can talk about it later.
We have a couple of things under police, so if you want to start with SRO, that's,
Okay, so Matt, emailed Ted earlier, he asked us a while back, what was the cost per hour for the SRO for the school? So we got these numbers from Kari. And basically, it's, without, including workman's comp, it's, high, over $40 an hour, so it's gonna be right on par with about $45 an hour, give or take.
So for purposes of the number, so we have a revenue number in the police budget. So how do we get to that number? I'm just assuming we've multiplied that by a certain number of hours.
Whatever it was, the 45 an hour by however many school days there are per calendar year. Now, obviously, that's if the SRO worked every single school day, which they don't, but
So-
that's what we
And so
bill it
you're
out
going
as.
by, what was it, 45 an hour?
Correct.
And so that's intended to include everything, including we did a tiny bit on administrative, but there's no health insurance included in that number.
No health insurance. But Kari didn't even look at what it costs for workman's comp either, so we didn't take that into consideration, so it's probably a little bit more.
Do you happen to know what the total cost was? Do you have that? Is that all on that sheet?
The cost for those.
For the whole position?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Can I borrow this for the evening?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Then if you could email this to us later, that'd be awesome.
No, yeah. I Kari
That's
was-
it right there. We got a hard
Yeah.
copy, you have it.
Yeah.
Don't lose it.
Well, Kari was very.
Try not to put it in my recycling pile.
Yeah.
Since I have no box, it'll be with me until at least tomorrow morning.
Anything else on that? Do we need to make any adjustments to our budget for that? Because I'm about to move into another
So,
budget
well,
adjustment. Proposed budget, I should say.
so the employee total cost reflected on here, this is sort of salary, social security, and VEMR's, $77,512.50.
Say that again. 77.
77,512.50.
50. So that's salary,
So,
social security, and VEMR's.
this doesn't
Doesn't
include
include
the
any
math,
vehicle.
but the number, the number we had in the budget was 58 or 59,000, I think, total.
Carrie, is that for the year, or is that,
It's,
you didn't take it into
more
consideration
than
the school year? Maybe those are
That's-
for the
that's-
time.
Starting July 1st.
Yeah.
Okay.
that income,
Tired year.
Matt, the income number that we deducted, that we show in the police budget, it's 61,000.
Well, a couple thousand of that is something else.
Police reports.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, so it's
59,520.
and change, right?
So, I don't know.
59,520.
I guess it just seems like it's a high percentage of the year that we're, because there's what, 185 days?
Well, what is missing is training, uniforms, equipment, cruiser, fuel for the cruiser. All of those which are with the SRO when the SRO is up here at school. So those are costs that weren't,
They're not just budget. We're not looking at just the
So
budget.
I just want to make
Or
sure
the
that,
salary.
not just salary.
Not
I
just-
just want to make sure that we have some correspondence between what we put in the budget, what we're billing, and what the school is planning to pay, ideally. So if we can make sure that those things all end up on the same page, I mean, what we budgeted may be fine, but if now if we're doing the math differently, I don't want to find out halfway through the year that there's a
We
big
we
mismatch.
plan on 45 an hour, we're staying at 45 an hour.
Okay, well, so does using the 45 an hour result in that figure or less than the figure that we, ultimately, what we actually receive is going to be a function of what we're billing. So if we're just billing based on hours and nothing else, we're just doing 45 an hour and assuming that includes everything we need to include,
Correct.
and that's what we're going to get, which would be, I mean, if it's 185 days, and we're assuming 8-hour days, right, for now this time, so that's 1,480 hours times 45 would be 66,600. So,
It just means that the school isn't picking up 100% of the hour. I mean, you're not going to be able, it's just like we tried to do with the Cortina. You're not going to be able to
Well,
get
that's
it right
pretty
down to
close.
the penny. The school is actually paying us at Piers 20,000 more than they were paying for the SRO. And
Well,
we've increased.
that's what's-
Because we were just splitting it before.
that's
just
what's
down the
in
middle.
our, but, well, so
Now
there was a
we've added a
mismatch
few other things.
before.
Yeah.
We had a smaller number on our income line, but they were being billed for more, and they were apparently paying more. So hopefully they're planning to pay as much as we intend to receive, but this number is larger than what we currently have in the budget, so.
Well, wait, but not by much. Do that number again, 45 hours times 186 days.
I did 185, but
Okay,
whatever.
that's okay. Times
8 hours a day.
8 hours a day, and that came up to 66,600, and we're at 59,520. So we're a little low,
So we're.
but I'd
the-
rather be a little low
So the town's
budgeted.
picking up more of the
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
town
Not if-
portion over the
but-
school.
But not if we bill them for more, so if we.
We're gonna bill,
Oh, I
we
see what
can't
you're
What
bill
I'm
them for
saying is
more
I don't
than
want
what
to
we
put
show for income.
59,000
I
in our
wouldn't.
budget and then bill them for 66,000. But we should make sure.
And that's assuming that the SRO works every day, though. Realistically, that's not a thing. Like, we bill it out that way, but realistically, it's like he's already had to take 3 days off for sick leave because of the petri dish that is the school. So,
does that mean the town pays for those days?
correct.
This comes out of-
We do not bill the school for those days, we take those ourselves.
Okay.
So, it's an estimate.
It
But
is
if
an estimate.
the
You make
school-
sure that somebody is coordinating on the school side, so there's not a big disparity there, that would be great. I don't think there should be, because I think in the past, they had budgeted larger numbers.
They usually have,
Should be in that ballpark, but.
yeah.
Okay, now, so we're all good with that. We don't have to change that line in the proposed police budget. But if you take a look right above that in the proposed police budget, I sent you around an email after tracking down the $150,000 Cortina fund. And what we discovered was we did, in fact, take $150,000 and planned on it and raised $150 less in taxes for this current fiscal year budget. So we need to, I think, add that into that line. And the budget that we approved is different from the one you have in front of you, because the proposed budget no longer has $150,000 for this coming year. So we took out $150 there in anticipation that you folks would agree to approve that change tonight. And we can present it to the voters that way.
So the police budget's going to be 693,000. Because the ballot item, Bill said that the ballot item from last March was accurate. How it
Ballot item,
was
the
accurate.
ballot item was accurate, the town report was
inaccurate.
not.
Right.
Correct.
So in effect, we did deduct the 150 from the
Right.
amount to be raised by taxes.
Right.
So there's no longer any monies extra.
Correct.
It's in, so this current ballot or budget the police department's operating in is supposed to get 150,000 from the Cortina fund toward their operating expenses.
Correct, because we're not raising that money
So-
in real estate taxes.
Right, so this year, the only amount we've got to deduct is the $61,020.
Correct,
So that leaves a ballot item of 693,135.
correct. Okay,
Because when we voted on the budgets that night several weeks ago, we thought we had screwed up.
we thought we had, we didn't.
No, we
Or-
didn't.
or at
Well,
least-
the printing did.
So somebody caught it,
Yeah.
and we're grateful.
Yeah, Andrew,
Okay.
Kari, somebody got it right, that
Yeah.
the voters voted on the proper number.
Right, okay, so I will entertain a motion, and that kind of sounded like one, that we
approve-
we
I-
approve the
yeah.
police budget at 693,135.
So moved.
Motion's made and seconded. Any questions about this or why we did it? I did send around that email that explained it a little bit, I think. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, 5-0. Okay,
I'm glad we got it, because of the controversy. It's good to get it squared up properly.
yeah. Which, of course, you saw the summary page, so now our amount to be raised by taxes is way up, but
But the school's going down, so.
we'll explain
Well,
that.
the school's going down for,
Okay. Police cruiser. In your packet, the police committee met, and Ted and somebody worked with you? Did Ed work with you on the?
Jimmy mostly.
Jimmy, okay. We had asked for a vehicle replacement schedule for the police cruisers, because we knew one was coming up as being on the 10-year mark, and it's just past it. Ted had a request in from one vendor, which is out of Massachusetts, and the state vendor there. And then we asked him to get more information from the Vermont bid vendor, which is in your packet, and also from, I guess, a couple of local folks. So a question is, do you want to act on this tonight, or would you rather wait until the next meeting to go over this? Your pleasure. There was some urgency because the Massachusetts vendor has the cruiser on the lot. And the others, if we went with them, we might get a lower price, but we would have to wait a
The price.
substantially
the price
long
was
time.
almost the same, wasn't it? 52,000?
Yeah, it
Right
was
in there,
close.
it's
50
within
for the
$100
vehicle.
of each other.
Yeah, for
But
the
they,
vehicle itself, yes, they were
right, for the,
close.
and the equipment's gonna be the same regardless of where you buy the vehicle,
Right.
pretty much.
But
Is
But
it-
if we
it's the
can
time.
get the one sooner than later and it's finished,
that's the question.
and that's the problem, because everything everybody orders seems to be back-ordered and back-ordered and back-ordered.
Are you guys okay with another Tahoe? Yeah. I-
Yeah,
I-
that
you
was
know, I
in on
mean,
the meeting,
it was
too.
the information about the shortcomings of the other vehicle is, you know, you don't wanna buy something you're gonna have trouble with. And you've had your car for how long? A year now?
A year now, yeah,
Yeah,
no problems.
okay.
So how do you guys feel about it?
We told our police commission that we preferred the Tahoe. It was bigger.
That's the one that's ready.
There's more usable space.
It's a
in
little
it.
more money, but
It
it's
is more.
available.
Well,
And it
that's
doesn't,
it,
and it doesn't have the mechanical issues that the Explorers are having. Yeah.
Okay, the base price for the Tahoe is $52,775 with all of the add-ons, because it's a cruiser, $76,278.11.
So that number will go down because Jimmy and I went through the quote and we found things that they contracted or they bid for, but we don't need them.
Okay,
So $300 for window tint, we can't have the window tint in Vermont.
okay.
There's a printer in there that we already have the printer, so there's another 600 and something bucks that we're gonna remove from it as well.
So we need to rework the quote anyway.
Yeah, so Jimmy and I just went over it after the committee meetings.
So that price is a complete car, though, ready to go? Or what else would it need after that?
It needs a radio and a radar unit, and we're taking the camera out of the current charger, and we're gonna put that in the new vehicle.
So what are you thinking? But that's gonna be the same regardless of what vehicle you buy.
Correct.
Okay, Matt?
Just to try to quickly summarize, we had a fairly extensive discussion on what the
Yeah.
options are.
Yes.
You know, there's not maybe as many options as there used to be. I mean, there aren't sedans. We're getting rid of a sedan. There's not a sedan option. They would prefer not to have one anyways, but there isn't one. Basically, your options are this Tahoe, the Explorer, which is
Problematic.
problematic. The F-150, which you sent an email this afternoon, you said the base price on that was $47,000.
47.5.
And they've put together, they've proposed a replacement schedule here. And of course, one of the items in the fleet right now is a pickup. And I would think, we talked about whether, you know, whether they're like having a pickup, they do, you know, I would think that would be the time to consider when we replace the pickup as to whether we want to go the F-150 or
I
not.
agree to that.
Then the other option was Dodge, and that's the only other one at this point, right? And there was nobody,
So there's no
the state
state.
doesn't contract.
Correct. I could not find a state bid for law enforcement vehicles for Dodge.
Might be a reason for that.
Dodge, yeah.
So I couldn't get a true price on a Durango.
So,
Ordinarily, for something this size, we would be going out to bid. We have in the past used the state bid number,
Which,
which
and even
is
the
a
price-
part of this, and-
The price out of Massachusetts is same, within
Pretty
a
close.
few dollars. So if they wanna, you know, if they're ready to move ahead with it,
yeah,
you're still looking, what, by the time you get it to drive, 2-3 months?
Maybe a little longer.
Maybe a little
Just
longer.
depends on what their status is down there.
so the other
Yep.
issue obviously is how do you pay for it? So, you know, they're putting together this replacement schedule because we're a little behind on getting rid of this Charger. There would be 2 successive years where we would be needing to, where we wouldn't have
We
a
have to buy
gap, we
2
would be
vehicles.
buying. But, you know, essentially, there's enough money, or certainly will be by the time it's ready, in the depreciation to cover, you know, the first year on one of those. And then, you know, even after we spend the 150 out of the Cortina money, there should be enough. And I think that we need a clarification, Bill, in the minutes on this, comment about the Cortina fund. There'll be more than 41,000, I think, left in that fund, which was the amount estimated to be necessary for that first payment.
Okay.
Yeah, because in order to only be paying on one at a time, you basically get pay it off in 2 years, so they're
Are
pretty
you
substantial.
looking at a purchase or a lease?
Lease to own.
Either way, it amounts effectively the same thing
Yeah.
cost-wise, so, you're looking at paying half the thing every year, but we would be able to do that for these first couple of years through the depreciation and the Cortina fund, I think, and then after that, we're gonna need to look at probably increasing the depreciation rate like everybody else is doing because of the cost of
We
these things.
anticipated that as our departments grow. We have to anticipate the additional equipment with, highway and rec and police is next.
So just to clarify on the minutes, I mean, there's a line in here that says there's approximately 41,000 in the Cortina fund, which could offset the cost. What we want to say is there are sufficient funds in the Cortina fund to offset the first year of on a purchase or lease of another vehicle.
So I'd like just to point out that with McGovern's, which is the quote for Massachusetts, that company does not offer leasing options. They go with a local bank down there that they deal with for this stuff. So I would presume that you would want to see a contract first before we really agree to anything moving forward.
So do we have enough money to just purchase a vehicle? No.
No. We have roughly 41,000 in depreciation, which is obviously way less than what we need, so we have to go with that lease option.
I mean, there would be, there's additional money in the Cortina. We haven't calculated that down to the penny, but I don't think there's.
I was gonna say, if we had the money, I'd just say buy the car, because that's the least expensive way, but if we have to, lease it, then you have to go
Yeah.
that route. And
So,
the lease would be for how long?
It's a 3 years.
3 years.
Which is what we've done with every other car is, except for Chief Dumas.
Life expectancy of the car is gonna be
At minimum 8 years,
at least 8, so.
at least 8.
Right now, we're running probably closer to 10.
Yeah.
Until we get up
Wait,
to a certain.
once you get your schedule
Yeah.
worked out.
so we're missing the quote with the eliminations that we don't need.
Correct.
We're missing the lease agreement, and we're missing the finance lease
Yeah.
agreement with the
So
bank.
it's Mike Rowe.
If we
Mike
wait,
Rowe
do
doesn't
we
get a
run the
vehicle.
risk of losing the car? Because it is there.
So all we have to do is, they have to have a signed quote that they can write our name. Unofficially, they've written our name on a car because they know we're working on it. But if other agencies order 100 cars and then ours goes away, which isn't the end of the world, we can.
It isn't, but it
So-
increases your length of time to get a vehicle, and you have one sitting there, because I'd almost like to
So
say
I
we
guess
wanna take it,
Right.
pending.
I would make a motion that Ted be authorized to finalize a quote with the adjustments that he and Jimmy have identified and authorize Mary to sign one on behalf of the board so we can move this forward.
Financing and the new quote, the revised quote.
I don't know what bank they deal with. This was brought up and I asked them and that's what they said, is they deal with the
Okay.
bank. So.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded
I just don't want to,
to
you
go
have
with the
a,
Massachusetts company on a lease to own with some adjustments to be made to eliminate items that we don't need. So it will be under 76,278.11, and with a finance lease agreement that is yet to be determined with me to sign on behalf of the board. Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? Thirded, too. If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, motion carries. We'll get a police cruiser, because, it's now 11 years old.
Correct.
Okay.
then you're still running that one, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you'll need it till.
Yep.
So
Brakes were squealing when he pulled in, but it did turn left.
That's why I say, the sooner you get this going, the better off you are in case, because you do anticipate selling the other car.
Correct.
And it would be nice to sell it while it still was sellable.
Yes.
The wheels fall off, then we're going to have a different story, so.
Okay. Was there anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. So we've reviewed the SRO and that'll stand. We've adjusted the 150 out, and that's what we're presenting to the voters tonight. And we've bought a cruiser. Okay,
That's it, that's all you
It's
get.
only just
I was
one
gonna
department.
say, I come around and money gets spent, I know people shake their
we're
heads.
well aware of that. Okay, anything else for our police chief or deputy chief? Okay, thank you very much. Oh, is Mike Rowe back? Yes, he is. Mike Rowe, Town Rec Director.
Hello all, how are you?
Hi, Mike.
I just have a couple things. Basketball's in full swing, so please check out a game. Also, we're running our kindergarten through second grade basketball camp over February vacation. You can sign up online on the rec, and that'll be the 17th through the 20th right here at school from 9 o'clock in the morning till 10:30. The only other thing, couple things, is that at the park, feel free to, and I wrote it in the Circle article, to go cross-country skiing if you want, snowshoeing. We're hoping to expand that next year, but feel free to enjoy the park. And also, while enjoying the park, please make sure that your dog is on leash and that you do clean up after your dog, even though it is snowing. We have receptacles to put your waste in, and we actually provide bags for that as well. So if people can remember to do that, that would be great. We seem to be getting a little more off-leash. People feel a little bit more at ease in the winter because there's not that many people going through, but please remember that that is a 365-day leash ordinance in the towns. Please keep your dogs leashed. Appreciate that. Other than that, I don't have much more than that.
Okay. Questions for our rec
Question for me?
director?
Is there a rink out there?
We got,
Finally cold and you don't.
I know, we got behind the ball, and then it got cold, and we couldn't set it up, and it just happened. But that is priority number one next winter, is to have that up and going quite often. So, I believe I have a meeting with Barb. Mary, you coming tomorrow?
Yeah.
So just come to the office, and they'll call me, and I'll come get you, and we'll meet in my room.
Yes, please.
You need popcorn for that meeting? as
Thank you
well?
for this popcorn very much.
I can provide more if it's needed.
Okay, I appreciate that. Yep. Great.
All right.
If nothing else,
And we're good.
thank you very
All right,
much,
thank
Mike.
you. We're starting at 7 for the next one?
Yes, and we go first. Assuming the moderator whom we just elected.
Congratulations on the moderator job.
Yeah, thanks. Well, since I didn't have the job an hour ago, when this wasn't pre-negotiated as to order, so.
9 minutes
Not
ago, you didn't have
responsible.
that job.
All right, Dave Sears, Town Road Commissioner.
Should we be singing the song?
Should be pretty quick. Snow.
A little bit every day.
All right, we got a
Really?
little more than that.
Yeah, you wish it was that easy.
I know. Day after last meeting, we went down to the south end and we took video. Do we have that?
Not, we don't have show and tell tonight, no.
Oh,
Oh,
Here. This is not our home.
We'll have it for the next time.
well,
You gotta show and tell next
so
time.
it's safe to eat the popcorn,
Popcorn
folks.
for
Huh?
so we did get a camera into that sewer main down there, and it's not much bigger than a garden hose in some places. So it's a 6-inch main. For the bulk of it, it's probably 4 inches. There's
Full
a
of
couple
stuff?
places where our camera head is 2, and we couldn't get by what was there. So it's somewhat less than 2 inches and about 95, 96 feet out, which is right about in the left-hand northbound lane.
Just off center line.
Just off. So, we do have a video of that. It's pretty rough inside, so, I talked to Robert Clerk. He said to get a hold of a company called Canyon Pipeline Services. I worked with them in my previous life. Got a hold of them, and they can't really do anything for us with that pipe because it's kind of too small for, they're used to doing big stuff, and this is too small for them to get into. They've got a high-pressure water jet thing that they can get in and kind of clean some of that stuff, but they're afraid of getting, because this is such a small pipe, they're afraid of getting their jetter stuck. and once it's stuck, it's in there, and that's a huge problem. So, I'm not really sure what the next solution is. I'm trying to get a hold of Robert Clark, and we're kind of playing phone tag here a little bit.
Does it look like it's, the cast iron, you think?
It's cast.
So it's basically deteriorating inside, it's rusted?
It's called tuberculation. It's just
Yeah.
basically, I don't want to say rust, but it's something similar to that. It's just
Need somebody with a well-drilling truck that'll work sideways.
something, yeah. And I know back in the day, they used to have things called poly pigs, and you could run them through a cast iron main and it would scrub them out. I don't know if anybody does that anymore. I've looked it up online. I can't find anything about them. But the city did it on a couple water mains, and it actually made the mains weaker because you take that stuff out. So now it's, so the mains that they did that on, they'd have 3, 4 breaks, 5 breaks a year, and they end up
But they're
replacing them.
They're under pressure, so that would be.
They're under pressure, but this is under Route 7. There's a fair amount of pressure there too. So, I'll keep you guys up to date on what's going on. I'm trying to find some solution. I'm not sure what it is, but it's, when I was talking to Kenyon, they said with the amount that the car wash is permitted, they're 8,800 gallons a day is their permit. They're open 10 hours, so talking 900 gallons an hour. That 6-inch main probably wouldn't handle that volume in a 10-hour day anyway, so it probably needs to be bigger. I mean, that's where we're headed with this, is somehow, whatever the solution is bigger.
But you couldn't, like, drill across and put the pipe with it like they do, you know, when they drill a well, you can run the casing with it, but I don't know how you do it horizontally.
You'd have to bypass pump to somewhere, and there's no place there to bypass pump to, that's the problem.
Right.
Yeah, obviously, you can't run over Route 7. There's no real place to get,
There's no culverts across the road there that we could.
not there, it's up, you know, where it goes across to the wastewater pond there by Michael's,
Right.
that's a pretty good hump to get there. So it's not a great situation, no matter how you look at it. So, you know, I'm thinking maybe pump station, but I don't know where you pump it to, so that's,
I was looking, we might be able to epoxy line it. I don't know if they can clean it.
that's the problem, is getting it clean.
Yeah, they have chain cleaners that might be able to clean it, and then they can epoxy line it for now.
Who's they?
Wingard.
Who's Wingard?
Wingard's out of Montpelier, and then there's another company out of Colchester.
Okay.
So I've been looking around and asking questions. I'll let you know tomorrow.
Okay.
I can put a list together.
If it's too small, we're gonna still have to think about
Yeah, but this is,
This could be,
step up.
we need to do something in a week,
Yeah.
and we're not gonna get that fixed in a week.
No. I wonder if we should start conversations with V-Trans. Just, if there's a long road to open cutting that, to changing it, maybe we should start now. Because if it took us 6 months to get their blessing, you know, and that's a job you want to do in the summer, obviously.
right. Yeah, I mean, again, that's 9 feet deep, so it's
Yeah,
a huge
big project,
huge
That's
project.
big money too.
yeah, yeah.
I'm hoping we can directional bore it, but that takes,
If there was some way
Takes
that we
time
could
and
actually
planning.
fix this one and then figure some way to run a parallel line to
Kind
it
of what needs to happen.
and
But
redo the
directional
manholes
drilling is
on.
not an exact science either. That You hit a stone and that thing pings off over there somewhere, and now you're,
Digging into the pipe you're trying to not hurt.
Yeah.
you never know where
Yeah.
they are. Yeah.
those things are tricky.
I was trying to figure out some way we could get across there and, you know, add a line to replace the 8-inch, say, and be able to keep this flowing, but.
So we're waiting for Robert Clark too.
Yep. That
And
I
Kurt's
mean,
digging up some
If
information
we get some
about it.
information, I can make some phone calls and see if I can get somebody to come down and try to clean it. So, sort of in line with that was, I got the bill this past week for Belden for digging that and repairing that, and I was impressed. It was just shy of $5,000. So, $49.93 and some change, so
That's fair.
that was, yeah, absolutely.
The fact that they did it in like 2 days, you know, they were there, right?
Yeah, they
Within
were
2
there.
days.
Yep. It was great. I filled out our Tier 2 chemical report for the state. That was submitted. In your packet somewhere is a mileage report for V-Trans to certify our road mileage for the year so that we can get paid.
Okay, so it's same as last year, except we took off
Mine
Dyer
only altered.
Road, which we threw up and conveyed to the surrounding property owners. So it's got the pretty yellow columns on it.
Color coded in the whole thing.
There is an original in that folder, Mary.
There is? Okay. All right, is there any motion?
Approve.
Motion's been made to approve
Second.
and seconded. And we all get to sign. So, any discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, motion passes 5-0, so.
While that's going around, just as a quick note, I did reach out to 2 different people from V-Trans, trying to get somebody to sit down with us and talk about possibly extending the road diet that we had talked about.
Yep.
I haven't gotten anything back yet from anybody. They're, the holidays and all that stuff, but we'll see where that goes. And last but definitely not least is actually snow. We've had a lot. Not really a lot, just won't
Frequent
stop.
snow
Boy,
events,
it just
just like
kept
summer
going
with
and
frequent
going
rain
and
events.
going.
No rain, but frequent events. You're
Just
having
consistent.
frequent snow
Constant.
events.
So contractors are up to 15 call-ins. Everybody's had a variety of breakdowns, and we've just helped each other out because we've had them, they've had them, we had them, they had them. It's just, it's the nature of the beast, and here we are, so.
Got your Kenworth back yet?
Not yet. Well, yes
Sort of.
and no. Yes and no. Back and gone again.
Different problem. Same problem, nothing.
Extension of the same problem. More worser, if that's a word.
That's the truck you want to replace too, right?
Please.
Speaking of replacement, we have the language for the ballot items, rec and highway. Did Mike? Yes. So we should probably do that because we've got to give it to the voters. It's attachment 1 in your packet. The highway department is increasing by 5 cents. Sorry, half a cent per 100 up to a full cent. And you had some comment about it.
Yes, I believe it should read, these depreciations fund for the replacement, repair, and maintenance of equipment, not purchase. Because if it's purchased, that would allow us to buy a new vehicle out of that fund, which is not its intent. Its intent is the voters get to vote on, or we find some way to buy equipment using capital improvement fund or whatever, to start the ball rolling. But usually, like, once, when the police department, as we expand their fleet, we usually, either the voters vote on them or whatever. That's their initial purchase, and the replacement is what the depreciation funds were set up, so.
Okay.
And that would be the only change I see, is both of these should say replacement, not purchase.
Even repair and maintenance is
It's- well,
stretching what.
It is,
what they-
because what I was, and the reason I'd leave that is, the pool is one thing. If with major crisis there, then you may have to do some repair work or whatever with a truck. You blow, if you blow a motor in one of those trucks or a major something in the loader, you're going to kill your whole repair budget. So leaving that option open in circumstances, because it is up to us to decide, well, no, this should come out of your repair,
Right.
and I just think that option's okay. I just think that we shouldn't be buying, expanding a fleet out of that fund, and that's what purchase would be. So,
So That's,
should be replacement.
is that a motion to approve the two ballot items with the word purchase taken out and replaced with the word replacement?
Is that what we need to do? Then I'll do that. I'll make that a motion.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded to make that change to both and then to approve for ballot
To
items.
both meaning what, Mary?
Up under rec,
Okay.
take out the word purchase and put in replacement. And the same for highway, take out the word purchase and put in replacement.
And as far as we know, these calculated figures and they're gonna be, remember the year we raised either what,
Yes.
one, we raised no money or we raised a whole lot?
Before my time.
Yeah.
I was like, no money.
$200 or $300, yeah. Well, that was one version,
$20.
yeah.
Okay.
It was $200
I think it was 200
Huh?
for police department, yeah.
So, right.
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay, motion's been made. Any further discussion? Do you have that change?
I do it replacement, right?
It is replacement
Instead
instead
of
of purchase, yep.
So when you get these for the town meeting, just remember that one.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the motion on these two depreciation funds, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Anything else for,
Did you read on the can of house NHL and fuel treatment? The warranty?
No.
It says you go or we pay the tow. If you use that regularly, and that's what you guys have been using, then you have that day. So I would contact them and ask them, how do I go about, you know, I don't know, they probably have to, they want a log that you put fuel in it, and you're not gonna collect anything, but I'd hold their toes to the fire and ask them, well, how does this work? Because I had 3 trucks treated and none of them would start.
Bill, where's
So
our
it's not gonna cost you any more than a phone call, but you get the jug,
Where's our
Yeah.
candy?
and it says right on the side, there's a warranty.
yep, popcorn?
I can't eat popcorn.
Not know that.
Well,
That could
you
be
think
fun.
I do
Yeah.
that to you,
Well,
Mary, and
entertainment.
say,
Get away from mailbox calls for a while.
Yeah.
Any more questions, comments, or business with our town road
Salt
commissioner?
supply, okay.
We got about 200 ton today. They owe us about another 100, so
You're able to get it?
yeah,
and
we're
I'm sure.
we're about half the building right now.
Is that where those trailer trucks are going? That's what I thought.
That's all I got.
Okay,
Thanks, Dave.
thank you very much. All right, looking on the screen, no Marcia Chioffi. So we'll move along to Chris Clark, Town Fire Chief. Here he is. There. Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, everybody. A couple things on my list tonight. First, we had our annual meeting last Monday. We did have an officer change. Our new lieutenant for Center Rutland is Trevor Brown. And our former lieutenant, George Mata, has moved up to captain. And everybody else has stayed the same. So this year will be Trevor as our newest officer. Let's see. Talking with Trevor, he came up with an idea. He does a lot of fire drills for the city schools. He's the electrician. They have a city ordinance for fire alarm panels. They all have the same exact key, so I don't have to carry around 40 keys. So I was wondering if we could add that to our ordinance. I'm not sure how that goes, but send
Let's
a
take
letter
a
out.
look. Let's add that to the agenda for Fire Committee and have a Fire Committee meeting. And take a look at the ordinance and see if we need to make any other changes in there too. I think it's
Oh, yes, we do.
probably due for a look at. So let's
Okay.
get that done.
And that's why we went to lock boxes.
Right.
But we're-
And now
you're
all the
talking
stores
about
change so often.
one key for all the knock boxes?
The fire alarm
Fire alarm
boxes.
boxes.
Fire alarm,
Oh.
yeah.
So-
Well, does that mean for example, the school would have to replace all of the fire alarms?
No, just a lock cylinder in the cabinet.
It's just for the cabinet.
Just the cabinets.
Oh, okay, okay.
Standardized
Gotcha.
one.
you know, you're looking through 40 keys, it's always the 41st one that opens the door.
Yes, yes.
Let's see. We had 186 fire calls for 2024, so we went down a couple. I think 3. I did get the new signs for the front of the station and dropped them off to Gary.
Good.
They are, I think today they were figuring out where they go, so hopefully they'll be hung up by the end of the week.
Give them pictures. so they
Diagram,
know
right,
that-
you should give them the pictures.
I did. I gave pictures. But I was in there probably a week ago, and it's getting closer. It's pretty close.
Waiting on a fire pump.
Yeah,
I
JP
heard
sent,
something about that today.
sent around an email asking the chiefs and deputy chiefs and assistant chiefs to meet up there on Monday at 10 o'clock.
Yep,
You're gonna be able to be there?
I will be there.
Very good. And you folks will be there? Okay, good. And Joe's going to be there, okay? It's not a public meeting, but if there are other select board members who want to be up there,
Basically to give them these guys to know where stuff is in the building.
that's
and
right.
everything like that.
And, you know, back to what else do we need and what's not quite right and what needs to be fixed and all of that good stuff. So
Right.
you're the folks who have to live with this. Okay.
Let's see here. Our new pickup truck that we got, I don't know, 3 months ago. I still haven't paid the bill because they sent the wrong rack on it. So we've been in connection with them. They were supposed to send it, so it's supposed to be here this week. So I'm just looking for approval for Kari to write the check when the guy shows up.
For the whole thing?
Yeah, 63,000 and some change.
I think we already approved it.
Yeah, I thought we.
Yeah.
We already
Yeah.
approved the money.
Yeah, it's been approved. I just didn't, I wanted the checks.
Will it be in the
gonna be
orders
written
next
out.
time?
Next to
It's
Oh, we haven't looked at the orders. Okay,
Oh,
we
it's
need
over
to
there
do
in
that.
file.
All
None of them,
right,
I don't think anyone's looked at them.
okay. So, yeah. And you have to change out the rack yourself?
I'm not sure yet. We're hoping he shows up and puts it on and takes the old one with him.
But if he sends you the new one and you put it on, you got the old one to do what you want with.
I might, or, yeah.
Sometimes that, you know, they'll do that because it's less money than sending somebody up here to do it.
Yeah.
And then they have
but Other than that, the truck's been great, no problems.
Good.
And last thing, just waiting to hear some more good news on the Cascade system.
Right. We're
Working on it, but
trying.
I think the Foley's are away on vacation.
Okay. Any questions for our fire chief? And we'll set up a meeting of the fire committee once we get through this.
Sounds good.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Kari Clerk, Town Clerk and Treasurer.
really have much of anything tonight. The taxes are still rolling in from the second installment, so I'll have the number of percentage for you next time, and then the check for the school will be in the orders next time.
Okay.
And then also, I think usually in January, we do the other half of the scholarship recipients if they provided us with their invoice for the spring semester. And I think there's just a couple in there, but we keep track of who we still need. So there's a couple of those in there. And the only other thing is, I've only seen 15 people for dogs. So if we can get the word out there.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, it's open all year, but in
I have to do
in
a
the
new one,
past.
right? I
Yeah, it's
registered for the year.
it's January
Okay.
through April, and then it's good for the year.
Okay.
But just wanted to get that out there again.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And you've put together the proposed warning for the meeting?
I do. If
Thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a couple pairs of eyes on it.
Excellent.
Bill checked it first with the numbers because he had the budget number, so that
Good.
was the big one. And then a few other people looked at to make sure that there was nothing out of the ordinary on there. We did have a couple people that didn't put in their appropriations this year, so they
Fewer
didn't make
appropriations
it.
to vote on, yeah.
Two of
For
them.
those. What's the deadline for the appropriations?
Oh, thank you. It's the 16th for appropriations, which is in a couple of days. And then I believe it's the 27th for people. I have a
Running for
couple
office.
for running for office. I have a couple already, but I'm still waiting on the signatures for anyone running this year.
Okay.
You didn't give me a call, so I'm assuming.
You're good.
Sure, both of those refer to moderator position, right?
There are so many people knocking at my door wanting to be that. You have such competition out there.
But
We'll
we'll
put yours
vote
in,
for you
right?
first.
Walk right into it.
Just a reminder, I did bring the orders with me, so make
Yes,
sure that
thank
you
you.
check those out and approve those tonight.
Okay, any questions for Kari Clark? Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Mike Delehanty?
No
First
Mike,
cons-
no
no Mike.
JP.
No JP. JP did send a memo around, and just a reminder, doesn't look like we need to do an executive session for that, but we may wish to on one other personnel item. So the plan is we're going to go until just before 7. Recess this if we haven't finished the business, come back in anyway, because we have to vote if there are any changes as a result of what we hear at the pre-town meeting. And we'll need to do, if we haven't signed the orders, we need to do that then. And we can do the executive session then if yeah.
So I've been talking with JP about the building.
Yes.
And I will attend that 21st and the 27th meetings
Okay.
on his behalf. And I have some questions about the lighting for the front sign. I don't know if anybody's been up there at night, but I go by there a lot. The Rutland Town up on the tower is beautiful.
Okay.
The public safety building on the front is less than satisfactory because there's a couple of lights shine on it, but it only then lights up a few letters on either end.
Okay.
So my question was why the lighting wasn't the same out front as on the tower, and how do we go about changing it?
Okay.
So I'm going to probably talk to JP about attending, if he's going to attend Friday's meeting, because I
Okay.
do believe they have their regular meetings on Fridays, and I want to ask those questions. The other thing that I think as a board we should be talking to VMS about is this has taken longer by 2 to 3 months than we anticipated, and I think they owe us some for not being there. If we were renting a building, as we did the other time, we would be paying rent on a building now, or we might have had to move out of a building because we leased it for so long, and I don't know. They were pretty quick about wanting us to pay additional money because of the delays for the the bad soil,
Yep.
and we did.
Yep.
Who covers us for the delay of getting in there? Dave's trucks have been sitting outside,
Well,
in my
Dave
opinion.
did have repairs necessary
you know,
because I
those
think they were
trucks
sitting
weren't, you know.
outside.
So I think they're going to, when we come down to that final
Okay.
payment, I think they're going to owe us something for
Right.
these, at least 2 months, December and January, that we should have been in that building.
Yep.
The other part is they need to get the floor sealed so we can get into that building.
Okay.
Because once the floor is sealed, it's 2 weeks before we can park a fire truck in it. And we,
I don't know if they're,
did they seal it? Good.
Good.
so it's done? The floors are done?
That's what I hear.
Because we have
Did they
approval
paint the
to
lines for you?
They did.
Okay, good.
So they're under the seal.
So we have approval to occupy as long as VLCT will allow us to park the trucks in there without sprinkler system.
But they won't allow us in there without a certificate of occupancy. Bill checked for us.
Well,
VLCT won't?
No, correct.
Of course they won't.
how's
They won't, and I
the,
don't believe you're gonna get the certificate of occupancy without the sprinkler.
well, how's the sprinkler system?
20th? I think that's what I was told today, the 20th.
So they'll be arriving when the chiefs are all there for the inspection, because that's
Well,
Monday.
that's on a Monday, so the 20th is Sunday, so I'm not sure what it is, but that's, fire pump is supposed to be there, and I don't know, how long to hook it up?
He told me 2 weeks.
2 weeks? So,
That's
if they
what it
don't get it
took
till the 20th,
with
they're
our
not gonna be in there by the
building,
end of the month.
We'll be in there by the end of
And
February.
we're
at
4
this rate.
floors, so,
Yeah, so,
and that was only
so there'll
3
be,
years ago.
the punch list discussion is on the 27th,
Okay.
so I'll be there for that. That's why I want to attend the next few meetings with JP, so we can make sure I'm on
Okay.
the right page. And hopefully, we'll have some numbers, and this again, so
T-
here is
Today's the 14th. Yesterday was the 13th. That would make
20th Monday.
Monday.
Right, and if it takes 2 weeks, my calculation is February 3rd. How about yours?
At least it's not Groundhog Day.
And that's the bare minimum. There's probably gonna be at least another.
And I
week
have
or
no
two.
idea how long it takes to put in a fire pump, but I can't imagine it takes two weeks.
It's gonna get set through the roof with a crane, so that takes
That-
some coordination.
Even if that was one day,
Yeah.
and then to plumb it, I mean,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's water in and water out, and I know this is
Okay.
valves and stuff, but anyway, I'll try to have more information.
Yes, thank you.
But again, that's a delay for us being occupying the building, that's not on us. This is on their subs. This is VMS's subs that didn't get that ordered in a timely fashion. It wasn't like in August, they decided, oh gee, we gotta have a fire pump. They knew when that building started a year ago, before that, they needed that particular pump.
Well, we should be talking with JP.
So,
I think we need to make a meeting, and we need to pull VMS into a meeting, and we need
Well,
to
let's
stop
start with a meeting
circumventing-
with
We
JP.
need to stop circumventing JP, because we're not getting the questions answered
Right.
that we're asking.
Right.
well, when we get down to that final retainage, that'll be the five of us deciding on what's what. And we need to have some of this information and, you
But,
know,
well, we also need to be talking with the folks who are,
right.
yeah, okay. All right. What brought that on? Okay, Barbara Pulling. Oh, I know, it's JP's report.
Right.
Right, okay. And I don't think we have, come on up. I think the hot seat's right there. Hey there.
Hi. So, probably the most critical thing the Town Planning Commission is working on right now is this grant application. So we've been invited to do the full application. They usually award about 10 or 11 of these each year. The webinar we had a few days ago, there were about 30 people at the webinar.
Okay.
Some of them were with pairs of people, grouped up a little bit, so we'll have a little competition for it.
This is for the Pocket Park.
For the pocket park, sorry. And since there's federal money involved, it's a little more involved with the application itself. One thing that is required is a procurement policy, which we may have to create, or, in other words, or the other option is to use the state procurement policy, which, you know, for one thing, you have to get 3 bids for everything.
Oh, purchasing policy. We do have.
You have a purchasing policy.
We do,
That's for
yes.
purchases.
Yeah.
And not for contracts,
Well, it shouldn't be too bad to,
not for services.
I don't know, I haven't looked at it for a while. And ordinarily, I'd
Well, we
open
do.
my drawer and
We-
look
we-
at it.
If
For purchases, for services?
If we expect to spend more than $5,000, then we usually put it out to bid. If we're hiring.
No,
out-
I understand, but I haven't actually put eyes on that policy for a while, so it could be we're covered.
Well, if
We think we
if
are,
we hired
but-
an engineering company to do that South End project, and or if we're doing stuff, we usually put it out to bid, or we use our
We
preferred vendor.
follow it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
okay.
And if Dave needed something, and we think it's going to be, or the police, it's going to be a couple of grand or $3,000, we ask them to get 3 prices.
All right. What's the deadline? let's back up.
31st.
31st, and we've got another meeting between now and then.
We've got tomorrow, and, oh, the select board?
Select board. So let's look at the purchasing policy. It's online, and it's in my drawer.
Too, in the binders.
Yeah, it's on the binders on the desk, right. So we'll go take a look and make sure that's covered, and maybe the question is this sufficient? And if it needs something more, we can add it at our meeting.
Yeah.
Before the 31st, so that should work. Okay.
Right. Yes.
Bill, could you make a note that we need to do that and maybe add it as a possible agenda item?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So, given that it's a federal money involved, there's also some environmental issues that will have to be addressed in the application. The northern long-eared bat can't be...
Doesn't live there.
You sure about that?
They don't like running water.
So, yeah, so there will be some times where construction will be blocked out because of the bat. There will be a maintenance plan that will be required, ongoing maintenance.
Is that what we're going to talk with Mike about?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And there needs to be an effort to make it accessible and for everyone, not just the disabled, but to reach out to all kinds of communities for that. And then the whole flood-proofing issue we'll have to go over.
Okay. And that's all things we're going to cover with Mike, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
We do have a meeting, and Mike mentioned it, up here Thursday or tomorrow? It's tomorrow. I
It's
think.
tomorrow.
Okay. And I'll be here, and you'll be here, and Mike will be here.
I warned him it might last a little more than an hour,
Yeah.
so I'll warn you now.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's about it. The only other thing is that we have a plaque for Jim Hall that's ready to go in the box there.
Yes, thank you.
So,
Do you want
if he is expected to attend tonight.
He's
Okay.
anticipated, yes.
to? Okay, very
Does he
good.
know which room to go to?
He has been informed.
Okay, very good.
So we may want to do that at the top of the...
It's up to the moderator.
I know.
Our
Now he's
new
got-
moderator
Now he's got duties.
that's been elected by the select board. Well, at
Yeah.
least 4 of us.
By popular demand, yeah.
Got
Toward the-
voluntold.
Yeah, and the select board does go first, so we can,
Right,
after the
right.
Pledge of Allegiance and...
It's probably going to stay anyway, but.
Yeah, I probably will.
But I can do that, really. What do you want me to do, call you up for it, or to make a presentation?
Yeah, Mary and
Sure,
myself.
we'll do it. Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you. I should probably look at it before, so I know what it says.
Proofread it.
It's pretty lengthy. I don't know why, we just kept writing and writing.
Good. He deserves it.
Yeah.
30-plus years.
Anything, yeah. Anything, and that's in this town, because he's served in another town, and then he's served in the Air National Guard, and on
What
and
we
on.
should have done, if we were thinking, we would have elected him moderator. And
I know.
there you
here's your, here's
He
your
could have
sign.
given himself his own
Right,
time.
right.
His wife would have something to say.
Anything else for Barbara? Okay, see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Larry Del Veneri?
No doubt.
No. Bill Sweet, Town Administrator.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right.
Is it here or is it cold in this?
Well, something kicked on, so it's chilly.
Yeah, well, I don't
Okay.
control this room. We're doing all right. So, in your packets, we'll cover a few things in there. Number 3 is a request we got from the U.S. Census Bureau if we have any boundary adjustments to our municipality. If we want to give up or annex anything, I guess now's our chance. But I think we can reply to that we don't have any changes to our boundaries, but that came in, so we're gonna take care of
Yeah,
that.
I did ask that Bill stick it in, just so you know that some of the things that, the
Yep.
extraneous things we got. Someone had suggested in order to fix some problem, and it might have been an E911 problem, all we had to do was change the town boundary.
That's all.
There's a little more to it
All we
than
had to
that.
do?
All we had to do,
That's pretty simple.
Tell the
okay,
feds, nobody else will know.
right.
Uh,
So, good.
Number 4 is I won't say a request, because it wasn't so much a request. We were selected by the Department of Environmental Conservation to meet with them based upon our grant to get some status updates. So Mary and I and Andres are meeting with them on the 4th. If anybody would like to join us, feel free. But we have to do that virtually to go over our grant status with them. So that's another thing to take care of. The last meeting, we talked about, number 5 goes into follow-up from the last meeting for the the crosswalk at Town Hall. This is a quote for the rapid rectangular flashing beacons, buttons, power, and the last 2 things, which continues on to the next page, were auxiliary signs that could be placed farther in either direction. So those would not be necessary. So Ted and I and Dave looked at this and talked about it, and if we wanted to add the auxiliary signs, we could do that later on. It's not a big deal, but they can be activated by the same button for the crosswalk. So one button for the crosswalk would turn on lights in different places to help slow cars down. This is the quote we got, so it would be about $8,000 without those extra ones to install the flashing lights at the crosswalk.
Wait, is it 8,000?
So the total quote's 13,700.
Second
Yeah.
page is
But,
every.
but there's like $5,100, $5,200 for the extra signs, which we don't have to add right now. We could add right now. But so the total quote's 13,757. But that's what it would take to add that.
So, and this doesn't include the pole.
The poles are already existing. There are already poles in place, and these are compatible with the ones that are already there.
Okay.
They do sell very nice stanchions, and we can certainly get them.
Bill, we don't need the Taj Mahal.
The sky's the
But
limit.
the posts that are there are compatible with these signs, so we wouldn't need any.
So then what's the install involved? I mean,
Labor?
That's not included here, right?
No.
So who would do that?
There's stuff.
He's already
shows up.
gone.
Yeah, Dave.
Dave can do it. We don't need
Dave
that.
absolutely can
We
do
don't
it.
need
Our
an
Public
electrician
Works
or something.
Department.
Our public
Gonna
works is
handle this.
excellent. They can take care
So
of that.
this is just the equipment, we're just buying it.
Right.
And they're gonna go hook them up.
Yep.
This is a quote, and it's based upon one person, or some requests made. And I guess one question is, are there other places in town
Sure.
that should have similar, and, you know,
We don't have that many crosswalks.
Route 7 and down by
not this.
Quality, isn't there one at, Coeur d'Alene, or, yeah, Coeur River Road?
Colder Road, that's
lighted.
been done. That's lights and
been done.
crosswalks were
Hold
done
on.
when they
Yeah, that
added the
one's done.
the
lights.
state did
The
that
only other
one.
one is right here.
Right here.
Yeah. Which-
There'll be a
But that-
second one.
But
that's 3 years down the road.
right, that's down the road, but that's,
But I
That's
think
tied
if
into
I
the light.
remember,
that's gonna be
that
tied
does
into the
not-
traffic lights.
I don't think that included
It does.
signage.
No,
Yeah,
it
that's-
does.
that's
It's
turned-
crosswalks,
Tied
yes,
into the traffic lights.
but that's part of the
Yeah,
traffic
that
light.
one's tied to the traffic
Yep.
Yeah.
lights. Yeah, that's right,
So there'll be one at McKinley Avenue and
Yep.
one at Lincoln,
right.
but that's not really crossing a road, it's an intersection, so it's already got to stop.
Right,
So
so
that's-
those are different.
So we, like, the Post Road one here, like, that's really the only other one we have that's actually an actual crosswalk that's not at a
And
signal
there's
intersection.
nothing on Route 7 South in the States right away down there. Everybody wanted one, but they
Right,
never.
but they're signaled. Denny's has one, it's got a crosswalk.
Yeah, those are all signaled then.
What's the only one?
Can we put it on our project list on the board and so we
Sure.
don't forget about it?
That's fine.
all right.
As time goes on, maybe this summer we'll find some money somewhere.
Well,
for
that's it. I mean, I'd go for it in a minute, but we didn't decide how we're going to.
Right, I mean, that's the thing, so kind of came up, but yes, absolutely, and I have
Okay.
pictures of everything if you ever want to see it.
Grant might show up or something.
I'll try.
AARP announced for grants again, but
Yeah.
you said they won't do this
We've tried twice and they won't.
with this particular project?
It's only if our highway guys are walking back and forth, and it would make them safe.
Number 6.
Sometimes they get disgusted when you hit them the third time and say, go
maybe.
ahead.
I'm not sure when the deadline is, but I'm not sure I can do that and everything else at the moment, so. Number 6 is the equalization study results from, we talked about the last meeting, so that's just
Yes,
a
we asked
breakdown of
Marcia to
that.
provide us
Yep.
this. There it is.
And 7 is all the budget sheets. On your desks, in front of you, we asked Andrew to look at the calculations that we had done, come up with the amount to be raised by taxes and whatnot, and his opinion, his answer is there, that essentially our calculations
Yeah.
were correct,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's just his thing. Marcia had said that she had that report from the state, and so she sent it to me. I have 2 copies. I can make more. I can send you guys if you want to, but I printed out 2 copies of the report from the state.
Oh,
If anybody
right.
wanted to go through them, but they're pretty lengthy, so.
Okay.
That's which report?
The Act 68, the reappraisal and property data report, she talked
You
about
want
last
one now?
meeting.
Then we can put the other in Bill's office, so we can make other.
Yeah, it's fine. That's no problem.
This is all we really need to know, right?
Yeah, so that's part of it.
Yes.
This number right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yeah, you're welcome.
And Andrew thing.
And Marty and Dave and I met the other day to continue the work on the local hazard mitigation plan. We have a final draft. We are really, really close. So we are going to have, Stephanie's going to come to the meeting on the 28th and present that. So we're getting pretty close to being able to send it off and be done with that project, but we're making really good headway. We've done a lot of good work. We talked about the subdivision ordinance and what other towns have subdivision ordinance that don't have zoning.
Yes.
And the answer is Mount Holly is the only other town
In Rutland County.
in Rutland County that is in that situation, and theirs was adopted in 1998.
Probably not way better off. than
Not
we are.
really. It's less old.
Less
That's really what we're down to. So it's not going to be a good guide for that. But that's what it is. I have it if you care to look at it, but it's not really of anything that's going to really do us much any good. Like, it's actually short. It's shorter than ours, but ours is going to get shorter anyway. So
Okay.
Dana and Norm and I are going to meet again in a couple weeks to continue looking at ours, and we'll keep looking. We're making progress on it.
Okay.
Not sure if anybody saw in the paper that Proctor, the town of Proctor, their website was
Yes.
compromised.
Yes.
And I'd seen that, and the next day I actually got an email from our website vendor saying, hey, don't know if you saw this or not, here's what happened, and we discussed the whole thing. They have they had some suggestions for some updates that were very cost effective and very effective, so we are going to do that, which will harden and prevent some of the things that happened, and prevent things that didn't even happen. So we're gonna set that up. It's like I said, very cost effective, and they're gonna work on that. The other thing is there are new federal rules that are coming out that are requiring municipal websites to have accessibility options and features for text sizing and pictures and layouts, things like that, which we have to do. The deadline is April of 2026, so it's going to be in the budget we're talking about right now. There is enough, we always include some money in the budget for website work, and this will fall underneath that. So between the two, we're going to be able to implement the security and the accessibility options with what we have. So we're in good shape. So our website will undergo a few changes coming up to be able to meet those requirements, but it's not going to be terrible, and it'll make it easier to use. And the last thing I have is town report. The deadline for me to really put it together is a week from tomorrow, so I need to have everybody's reports from the department heads. Looking at you two. The only two departments I don't have, the only two I don't have is those two. But there's a couple other ones. But I've got
Which two? Fire?
fire and police. Yeah.
You guys don't get your cruiser and
Andrew got me his reports. We're all set with that. So now it's just I'm waiting to receive everything from everybody, so.
Yeah, those other two that you're just talking.
Yeah, well, you need a report from me, too.
I need to, yeah, I need
Yeah.
yours, yep.
Okay.
And then the super secret dedication, we need to do that
Yeah,
too, so.
Super secret dedication, yes, okay.
Everything else, with that is going, I've emailed the school, they're gonna send me things as they have them. Everything else is just kind of, I've got it all set up in the room. So that's underway, but we should be able to meet the deadline.
Don't miss any pages.
Pages.
Yep.
But yeah, we've got a week, I've got a week to do it. So I just need stuff, so.
Stuff, okay.
And that is everything I have.
Okay. Any questions for Bill? Follow-ups?
Yes, I have a complaint.
Okay?
I can't
candy?
stay awake. I haven't had a piece of candy.
I'm,
Oh.
it's a school.
Now, I
it's gotta
take
be
care
more-
of it
there's gotta be
over
candy.
in
You're
your
probably
part of-
healthy stuff for you here.
I don't want to eat carrots, and I
Get some
don't want to.
pretzels or something.
You can't eat popcorn, that's too bad.
I don't eat much candy, but keeps
So,
me going.
scoping out the rest of what we need to do, we do need a brief executive session on a personnel issue. We do need to come back and basically adopt the warning, which, that's, yeah. And do we have anything else we need to do?
Sign the orders.
Oh, let's recess now. I'll entertain a motion to recess. Well, yeah, and then we'll get those things signed. And then that'll be done. And then we'll do the other two when we come back in.
When are we coming back?
So the question is, right, because you'll be moderating. Or you can slip away after you turn it over to the school. Do you want to sit through the school presentation, or do you want to come back here and finish our business?
Back here and finish our business.
Was that the consensus? I mean, it shouldn't take too awfully
They're
long,
in
frankly.
here, right?
The school's in here. We're gonna
But-
be going across the hall into the meeting room.
Okay,
Finish our meeting.
okay.
And that's acceptable for,
Yeah, Mike Rowe was a
Technology's
little
taken
put
care of.
out that we didn't go
I know.
his place.
Okay, so it sounds like what we're gonna do is recess now, and I'll entertain a motion to recess.
So move.
Second.
Second motion's made to recess and come back after our portion of the town meeting. All in favor, please say aye.
Right.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries, and we're in recess.
call to order our pre-town meeting. I don't have a actual volume enhancing microphone, so I'm just gonna have to yell, and anybody else is gonna have to yell. And maybe if you have a question or comment, it might be best if you lean in towards one of these mics, because then Peg TV will pick it up. Otherwise, the Zoom mic is over here, and hopefully they'll be able to hear online. So I guess you have a flag, so why don't you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag,
United States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so now, I guess the first thing I should do is say if anybody wants to run for moderator, it is open. I'm only here by popular request, so you still have time to get your petition in. Yep. And then other than that, we'll start off, before we get into all the exciting warning items, I'm going to turn over the microphone to, I guess, Mary and Barbara for a presentation.
Thank you.
Careful of the podium.
Okay, you won't touch it. Barbara, come on up.
Yeah.
Whoop, the wrong way. Okay. Good evening, everyone. We're here tonight we're here to do a lot of things, but let's start off right and honor a longtime dedicated public servant who has given a lot to Rutland Town. So we'd ask Jim Hall to come up, please. Jim, as you know, has served on our select board. He has served on our planning commission, on the Board of Civil Authority. You've seen him as a ballot clerk. He's been a justice of the peace, and he's helped with many, many elections. And he has, for 30 years, given dedicated service to our town. So I'm going to have Barbara read it. And we are presenting this plaque to Jim as a very small token of our appreciation for all that he has done. So Barbara?
So we're kind of guessing at the 30 years. It's been at least 30 years, your wife says,
Right.
maybe more. But anyway,
Okay.
after more than 30 years of dedicated service, the town of Rutland hereby recognizes Jim Hall for your deep sense of duty, unwavering commitment, and invaluable contributions to our town. The hard work, integrity, and pragmatism that you consistently displayed on the Select Board, Planning Commission, Board of Civil Authority, as Justice of the Peace, and helping with countless elections, have left an indelible mark on our community. As you embark on this new chapter, we wish you joy, relaxation, and all the best in your well-deserved retirement. Thank you for everything.
Thank you very much, ladies. I really appreciate this. And it does outline the number of years that I got up and went over to the town office or come up here or some other place. And that's all great work. And I didn't mind that a bit. I guess it's born in me. I served in another town for, let's see, 12 years. I was on 12 years over there in Royalton. So, thank you. Thank you once more. I
Thank you,
really
Jim.
appreciate that.
We have an opening for moderator. If you're
I don't think we have any room in the plaque.
Well, I'm sure that you'll find someone with a lot slot.
All right. Thank you, Jim, very much.
Thank you.
You're the best.
Okay. Did anybody steal my pen?
Oh, that's good.
All right, so now we'll start working our way through our warning. I believe there are copies available. Maybe. Do we have copies for everyone or just us
There's copies here.
for the warning?
Oh, the warning?
I only made copies for you
Just
guys.
us, okay. So I have to, we'll cut down the audience participation on this piece to just the board. You have to follow along, make sure that the words coming out of my mouth match the numbers that you see and the numbers that are on our draft budget sheets, which they should, but if we get enough eyes on it, maybe we'll get it. So, the warning is, the legal voters of the town of Rutland, Vermont are hereby warned and notified to meet at the Rutland Town Elementary School on Post Road on Monday, March 3rd, 2025, at 7 p.m. to discuss Articles 1 through 19. The close of business, the meeting shall recess to 7 a.m. Tuesday, March 4th, 2025, at the Town Hall in Center Rutland for voters living on the west side of Route 7 and the elementary school on Post Road for voters on the east side of Route 7 to vote by Australian ballot on Articles 1 through 19 inclusive. Polls will close at 7 p.m. on March 4th, 2025. And so we'll go through these and present the budget items as they come up. So Article number 1, shall the voters authorize the select board to approve $1,415,187 and no cents to use toward the operation of the general fund budget to be offset by anticipated income and local option tax receipts from the state of Vermont, the remainder of which, if any, to be raised by taxes. And I believe the presentation will be split between Mary and Joe. And you bring sheets if you want, or there's additional budget sheets up here.
Okay. All right, so you want us all up there presenting? All right, let's start with, and I think you all have it, there's a single-page sheet at the top, and this is kind of a summary of everything that you will be looking at. So let's start with that, because there are some numbers on there that you probably did a sharp intake of breath with, so let's get that out of the way. This summarizes what we're going to be asking the voters, and this is what is on our warning. So we have the general budget, highway, police, fire, rec, and there is an increase. The overall increase for our budgets is 6.96%. And the overall amount to be raised by taxes is close to 30%. Now let me explain this and put it in a little bit of context. First of all, there are several things which have driven the increase, and our folks will be reporting on these in individual budgets. The first is we have done an across-the-board salary increase for employees of the town of Rutland of 3%. Cost of living, Social Security was, I think, 2.5, 2.6, somewhere in there. We decided to keep good employees. We were going to do a cost of living increase at 3%. Health insurance is up all across the board. That is a very big driver. We have a few folks who were covered by spouses, so that did do some savings. We had some folks who have hit Medicare ages, and so that has helped some, but you will see going through individual budgets that healthcare costs contributed to our increase. And then general insurance costs are also up. We have policies with League of Cities and Towns, and those costs are up. So the increase in expenditures, that's where most of it is. We also had a decrease in income. If you look at our budgets, over half of what we spend on the town side in Rutland Town is paid for by income other than real estate taxes, okay? That's the 1% local option tax, which we have estimated and budgeted for $1.3 million this year. And we use that, it pretty much pays for all of the general budget and a chunk of the police budget. And you'll see those numbers if you look at those individuals. We have, for the past couple of years, have what we have called the Cortina Fund, the Hotel Fund, whatever you may term it. And we, as you saw, the payments to the town have ceased with the cessation, at least temporarily, of the Cortina as a homeless shelter. So we're not getting that income, and we're not going to count on that income, which means that's less income coming to help, and needs to be, that loss of income will be replaced by property tax income instead. They're in the general budget, an $84,000 stormwater grant that we got last year that we did not get this year. And also in the highway department, about 111, 112 in grants that we got last year that we're not getting this, that we're proposing for the fiscal year coming. So decrease in income, increase in expenses, that's why we have the numbers that we do. But putting things in perspective, we don't have a large budget here. So overall spending is up in dollar figures, $244,000, just a little bit more than $244,000. Our income is down about $182,000. These are not big numbers, but when they translate over into percentages, that's where the shock value comes. So total gap from last year to this year is about $426,000. Decrease in revenue, increase in expenses. So, now if you'll turn briefly to the general budget, I'll show you where a couple of things on the income side show up. The general budget is about 4, 5, 6 pages long. The first part is where we get our income, all right, short of property taxes. And most of those figures are pretty much staying the same. We had some decrease in revenue in recording fees. You remember we had a land boom a while ago, lots of real estate transactions, lots of recording fees. With the pandemic over, we hope, land sales have settled down somewhat. So there's a halfway down the first page, about $20,000 less in recording fees. Payment in lieu of taxes, we're going to get less, about $6,000 less from the state. And then on the second page, I mentioned the stormwater grant that we got last year, we will not be getting this year. So decrease in revenue on that way. And then for some of this is where the 3% across the board increase for employees shows up. First in Social Security, that is reflected there. We also had a new tax this year. It's the payroll tax, the child care contribution tax. It isn't a big number, but it added $2,000 to what we pay. The town listers have picked up more of the work because our contract worker, who had done all of the personal property inventory, is no longer going to be doing it for the coming year. So the listers picked up some of the time, but we also saved a little money as well in not having to hire the contractor. And many of the numbers there on expenses are not significant increases, or they're not increases at all. On the third, fourth page of the general budget, halfway down, that's where the general insurance number is and the health insurance number. So you can see that those increases are there. And we also have an increase in new equipment. So some of the increases I'm going to let Joe finish off with the general budget, and then we'll hear some for the rest. But keep in mind, it looks like a big percentage, but the actual dollar amounts are not huge. So what we need to collect for additional revenue on the real estate taxes is less than $500,000. I should mention this, a couple of factors that we still don't know that may help with those. The grand list, when we lodge the grand list, may increase in value, in which case, if that goes up, the applied tax rate will be less, and we'll be taking less of your tax money because it's spread around a larger grand list. We may get some grants. In fact, Barbara and Mike Rowe and I are meeting to work on a grant application later this week. Our local option tax may be doing better than the 1.3 million we've projected. We don't know yet, but we've got another couple of installments coming in. And then, of course, there are the appropriations, which voters will be asked to vote on. That's not included in here, but that will affect the tax rate as well. So I'll leave you with all of those thoughts. We think this is still a tight budget. I think if you look through and keep in mind what you've faced in your own homes for increases on insurance and wages and so on, I think you'll agree with us. So we would ask your support for the general budget. Joe.
Good evening, everyone. So Mary kind of left off where we were with the insurance. Things that the town doesn't have any control over are what are driving most of the increases in all of the budgets. The remainder of the page that we were working on below the insurance, everything is pretty much inflation amounts or basically the same. Going on to the, pretty much the last page here, begins with the bank interest and stuff. Our dues are up a little. Our fireworks are actually down a little, but So some things are up and down. Most of these costs reflect, like I say, either inflation or just general upkeep. When you get down to the generator maintenance line, we did increase that with the construction of the new public safety building. We did have a generator at that facility when it was a fire station. That generator was moved up to the highway garage. It was inadequate for the new building. So we are adding another generator to the number of backup generators, the one here at the school in different places. So we increased the maintenance for those. And that maintenance does include the fuel for the generators. If you look at the line for the seniors, that no longer appears in the general budget, and that's going to show up in recreation. Excuse me. Our appraisal update is down based on some other factors that are going along through the state. And then when we get down to the last two items on this front page, our public safety maintenance. So with the incorporation of two departments into one building, it became necessary for most of the basic costs for that building. The maintenance, we don't anticipate a lot of maintenance, but there will be some, and so we budgeted that. And then we kind of, 5 of us sat around and said, well, this looks like a good number for electricity because we have no idea. So we are going to have and because the current fiscal year we're in, the station won't be open for a full year. We're going to have to go through a couple of years before this number will start to show a more accurate number. So maintenance, electricity, and then on the last page, you will see that the heating for the building will be heated with propane, and we're anticipating around $5,000 based on other buildings. Because that building is connected to the city sewer system, we have to pay for the sewer part. We do not have to pay for water because it's on a drilled well. And then the last item, new item, is the phone and internet service. So with the two departments there and the phone usage innocent, we came up with the $10,000. The total general budget comes out to $1,415,187. Of course, I left the income page over here somewhere. We have an anticipated income of $1,685,390, which, if all goes well, we will end up with a income surplus of $270,203. So basically, we anticipate that all of the revenue coming into the town, 1% money, interest, delinquent taxes, will cover the entire general budget, all of those numbers, and we would have a surplus of about $200,000. And those numbers, when you look at the first sheet that Mary talked about, those numbers are back, taken away from the anticipated tax monies. So, any questions? Go ahead.
Obviously, I've got.
No, that's okay.
Good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
So I think it's on the, I'm sorry, there's no page number, so I apologize. I think it's on the third.
If you read
It's
the
zero-
number on the left-hand column.
Yep, okay,
The-
035176. It's the recording supplies. It's just up a little bit. I'm not sure what recording supplies entails.
That's in the town clerk's office.
Yeah.
It is for the,
Like cameras and,
for what's necessary, because we've switched over to the COTS system,
Okay.
so people can access town records online. There is a fee with that, but there is also some basic supplies that the price has gone up that Kari has to pay in order to get
yep,
them.
makes sense.
Was that relatively? I had it right?
Records.
We can,
Okay.
yeah,
Land records.
Land records.
and records.
And then I have a couple, do you mind if I just continue? And then-
just keep- Sure.
Okay, on the same page down at the bottom, 035205, it's the town hall maintenance. it's about cut in half. Is it because we've done all the remodeling there, so you're thinking there's not as much maintenance now because it's
No, it's
refreshed,
because
right?
the next step in the remodeling is going to be a lot of money. We are at the point where the plans are drawn up, pretty much. We are at the point of putting that project out to bid. What was the estimate? Yeah, so you're talking $500,000-$600,000 to do everything that we need to do down there.
In this, at the town hall.
In the basement down hall. I mean, this is a complete renovation of that area into office space, bathrooms,
The downstairs.
the downstairs, where we vote. The idea that has been kind of what the board has been looking at is eventually that downstairs will be modeled and these meetings will be held there. This will be like a community area for the town where we'll have internet, we'll have all of the necessary things so meetings can be done virtually. And that space will be the dedicated space for town meetings. We're hoping to get to that point. Funding it is the next project. That's actually where we are. We're at the stage of figuring out how we're going to pay for it.
Okay. And then on the next page, 053210, professional services, I just see a drop in that. It looks like in 23-24 we had like 22,000, and then last year we budgeted for a lot more, 35,000, but now we're back down to 23, and I'm just kind of trying to understand why there's such a fluctuation in that budget amount.
Depends on, and I'm not sure what we use all those services for, but if we have to hire somebody for specific research or get some professional information or if you, it would be like if you were having an expert witness in a case, so if we needed somebody to do that, and I'm not sure where we did spend it in the previous years, but it's for various, Kari, what do we usually?
Attorney line.
Mostly attorney fees, isn't it? If we have to have somebody beyond the town's attorney to do some specific work that he's not up with or special stuff. Sometimes I think the planning commission had some issues where we needed to hire somebody special, didn't we, at one time or something? I can't remember where we spend professional.
Some of
So,
yeah, the
Personnel policy took a lot of that. Those kind of things where you have to hire somebody specific for a particular
our
function.
landfill engineer, is that out of that as well?
No, that has its
separate
own.
one.
Okay.
Yep, there's a different spot for that one.
Last question on this budget.
Yep.
Stormwater, which is just down 035218, stormwater. It's about, we didn't get the, okay. I'm sorry, I wasn't listening, obviously. We're good. Got you, never mind. All right, good, I'm done, thanks.
Good? All right, any other questions? Very good. Go, Jeff.
When do you guys actually move into the new building?
Well, we had a lengthy discussion at our board meeting. The original plan had been sometime in November, but there's been some difficulties with getting equipment. We've had a few setbacks with that, so right now, I think the thing holding up the project is a fire sprinkler pump. When they went to order that, they found out there was a 6-month lead time to get it, and which was double what was anticipated. So that pump is scheduled to arrive the end of this week, first part of next week. They're anticipating, they said 2 weeks to get it installed, but I'm not sure, but that's the thing, and we cannot occupy the building without a certificate of occupancy, and we can't get that without the sprinkler system working. So I'm guessing if we're in there, if the police and fire can move in by the 14th, 15th of February, I would think that would be a realistic number. We're a few months behind, but that would be what I would anticipate. Yes?
I have a question, and I apologize, Mary, if you mentioned this and I just didn't hear it. On the first page, on 34021, for the interest, it looks like we received a lot of interest income, but our proposed budget doesn't have an increase. I was just curious, are we not anticipating getting a lot of interest this year?
Remember, we had the ARPA funds that were sitting there, and they were generating some interest.
So now we don't have that?
And now we don't have that, because we've spent that on the public safety building. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anything else? Very good. Turn that.
Okay, and if anybody online has a question, just raise your electronic hand and then Bill will let me know. Okay, one down. Article 2, shall the voters authorize the select board to raise by taxes an amount not to exceed $693,135.00 used toward the operation of the police fund budget. And I will recognize myself to review the police fund budget. Okay. You'll see we have two categories of income here. First, small, has to do with police reports, and frankly, I don't even remember what that's for, but the chief can tell us, I'm sure, if anyone wants to know. But the more significant is the SRO reimbursement amount, which is what we're anticipating to be reimbursed by the school district for the portion of the year that that officer is working at the school. So, school board members, take note of the number. I think you already approved your budget, but hopefully you have a similar budget on your expense side. On our expense side, again, the same salary increases that Mary mentioned earlier, and health insurance obviously is affecting some things. Health insurance we have lumped together, and yeah, it's actually going down overall because you have some folks that don't have to be covered by the policies, so that sort of helps. But as you can see, over time, the general trend is upward. One of the more significant items in the budget that affects the overall numbers that Mary was talking about at the beginning is the fact that we have added another officer to the force. The voters approved that last year, and this year we effectively are covering that increased expense through use of the hotel fund monies. So that cost was not passed on to the taxpayers this year, in the current year that we're in. But for next year, there will be an increase in personnel costs because we have added an officer. We had some vacancy savings there for, well, a couple positions. So we had vacancy savings, I guess, on the SRO position for a while because that was not filled for the first half of the year. We had added another position in the budget that wasn't filled until just, last week, I guess, we started, or a couple of weeks ago. So, Jared, we started a couple of months ago now, I guess, but at the beginning of the year, we didn't have that position filled. So we're now fully staffed up, which is great. The departments can be able to provide a lot more coverage. We saw the statistics earlier this evening from the chief on the number of calls, and they've increased dramatically over the last several years. The proportion of those calls that are coming from the south end of town right now have eased up with the closure of the hotel, but some of that activity is also being spread around town. So there's plenty of work to do, and we're hoping to have them covering things for more hours outside of just the plaza. We want to see some more patrols, and we want people to get their calls returned. If our officers aren't on duty, then those calls are going to the state. One of two things are happening. They're either going to the state police, who may or may not be able to respond, or you're going on a list for our officers to get to when they have time. So we're happy to be staffed up with officers that hopefully we'll have for a while. So on the expense lines, again, we you'll see that last year we had in the budget a significant number on line 25103, outside detail salary. That was basically overtime that we're paying officers to go work down at the plaza. So we're not budgeting for that this year. We, like I said, obviously we've hired another officer. We've also increased our overtime line a bit because we were generally overspending overtime for a couple of reasons. So we put a little bit more on that line, but we've removed the outside detail salary. Let's see. I think that's pretty much everything that's exciting. So, yeah, obviously our, the retirement line goes up because we've added another officer that we're paying into the pension for. So, I think that's everything on that. Are there any questions about the police budget? Yes, Marcia?
Okay, so just to be clear, we have the chief and we have 3 officers that are patrol and do, calls and so forth, and an SRO person. Does the SRO also, when they're, like maybe in the summer?
Yes.
Are they doing town police work during that time to offset? Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay.
Also, I should add too that the officer that we've just hired actually has a higher set of qualifications than the officer that left. So we're actually going to be able to use that officer for more things than we were able to before.
I just wanted clarification on that. So, and the only question I actually have is on the equipment line. Did you mention why there was an increase on the equipment? It's on.
So we had to upgrade our tasers.
Oh, okay.
It was the new, whatever the greatest thing is. That was a $9,000 increase over the old. We lease them for, I think it's 3 to 5 years. That's the main increase right there.
Let me just repeat for the audio because I don't know what's picking up. The question was about the equipment line, and the answer was tasers. But if you look, if you look back a couple of years, it's really not as significant an increase as last year was for some reason. That's all? Sure. Anyone else? Online? No? Okay. So, two down. Next up, Article 3. Shall the voters authorize the select board to raise by taxes an amount not to exceed $993,339.00 for use toward the operation of the highway fund budget? And let's see, Kurt, did you draw the short straw on this one?
I did. It's actually one of the easier budgets to present this year. So as we go through the income section, we didn't have any state grants foreseen for this coming year. Actually, the application period opens up here coming up. And then as we go through our expenses, a lot of things are pretty much level funded as we go down through the first page. As we switch to the second page, again, we're more level funded until we get down to the municipal retirement and health insurance. And those are big increases, like they are in every other department, unfortunately. And then we have training seminars that we increased. We have a pretty new crew now, so there's more seminars to get them trained up so they're more equipped to do their job. And then the winter contractors, we actually decreased $10,000. Now that we've bought more trucks, we're able to handle more call outs ourselves. Small dustings and whatnot we can handle with our trucks, and we don't have to call our contractors in. So we're starting to decrease that. And as we come to our last page, Communications is up. We have leased radios in the trucks so everybody can communicate as they go around town, fill in all the holes if we have a truck broke down and whatnot. So that's an increase. And then the vehicle equipment maintenance, now that we're buying more trucks and our trucks are starting to age, our maintenance is starting to go up, as we saw in our orders with a over $10,000 repair bill on one of the plow trucks. So we have, it looks like a big increase on the budget because we don't have the income to back it. So that's why we're up from 855 to 993. So, any questions? Marcia? No?
I actually don't have any questions about that
Perfect.
budget. Thank you.
Marcia just wants to know how many more days it's gonna snow.
I hope not many.
Every day.
Article 4. Shall we raise $262,538.00 for use toward the operation of the fire fund budget?
Me.
Sharon, come on up. Just one? Well, I'll read it when we get to it. Just don't go far away. Sorry, our podium's so tall. The microphone points down.
Sorry about that, folks. They didn't feed me spinach when I was little. As you all know, we have the new public service building. Now, I've been questioned, and I'm sure some of my others on the board have been, why do we need a new one? Well, I'll give you a couple of reasons. One reason is the new trucks that come in are longer than what the old trucks were. So even with the old trucks, they would have to back it in, and is it lower? Where's there a fireman when I need him? Chris, wake up. Okay, can you come up and explain better why we have to have the longer room for the trucks?
I think Joey would do a great job at that.
They're bigger. The trucks are
They
bigger.
are bigger, but there's something about, I don't know.
The clearance,
So-
the old station was
Right.
terrible.
Right.
The new station is much
The
better.
only one that fit in there was me.
So basically, when the town built the two stations in 1967, they built them for the equipment of the time. And as time goes on, between NFPA standards and different standards, different things need to be included in every fire truck. So needless to say, they become taller and longer. McKinley Avenue Station, we had to back the trucks in under the beams. So every fire truck that was built could only be built to about, I don't know if it was like 9'8" tall or 10, they had to be under a certain height to fit in under the beams. If you backed the truck in with no water on it, the lights in the back would catch the beams and they'd be on the floor. So the building was from 1967, they aged out, they were too small, inadequate. With the coming of our police department, they operate in a room that's about a tenth the size of this building. So it was very obvious that we needed to build a fire station, and that's how the town started this project. When I was chief and we started with Center Station, we knew that within 10 years, 8 to 10 years, McKinley would have to go, and we would have to do the same thing. So incorporating two agencies within one building saved the town acquisition costs for land, just a core facilities for the building, heating, plumbing, all of that stuff to facilitate two agencies within one building actually saved us from having to duplicate it. So that's how we got to where we are with a new building. What's reflected in the budget Sharon's going to be giving you are basically increases in stuff that we have no control over. There are a few decreases in Chris's budget because all of the utilities for what was a McKinley station have now been transferred to the general budget to accommodate the two different agencies that are now in the same building.
Thanks, Joey. The other question I was given the other day when I was trying to grocery shop, I was asked about the bank. As you come on McKinley and you go up, you'll see there's a bank there and there's some, like a wall there.
That's the actual.
So I got asked, well, that wall is sinking. So I said to my husband, after the guy wouldn't leave me alone, I said, take me up by the fire station. Will you help me look at what we need to look at? And he said,
We just been leaving it.
that's not falling down. He said, when you put, and Kurt filled me in a little more on this, as did Joey, when you're packing fresh dirt, it has to be tamped. And they tamped and tamped and tamped it. But still, it's fresh dirt. And still, it's going to take a few years for it to get good and tight. Am I correct, Kurt? So that's what the problem is there. We can't change that. I could go with my little shovel and keep tamping, but that's not going to get me too far. So that's what happened there. We're doing the best we can. Our fire trucks now fit into that building, which is a godsend. And again, just like the police, these folks didn't have much room to get around. I know Mary and I did a thing at McKinley, and I mean, we did platters of stuff, and we were kind of having a tough time she's tall and thin, and I'm short and me. So, that's just what it is. We tried to keep the budget as best we could, but you can't keep putting off what needs to be repaired because it's already came back to haunt us. And, you got to take care of things and you got to add to new things. And I know people get upset. I don't want my taxes changing. I don't like it either. I'm a senior citizen. But I also realize if we're going to preserve our town, we've got to take care of our town. If I'm right? You taught me that. You don't just let it decay. So I will. I'm not going to read these down to you because I think you're intelligent enough people that you can read. So I always get very frustrated when I've got to read to you when I know darn well, especially Marcia likes to read.
Yeah.
So, that's, I think it's a beautiful building over there. I know there was a lot of people, including my husband, that said, how can you put it over there? Well, that didn't cost us anything, and we fit the building there, and it's working. And even he had to admit to me it's working. The other question I was asked is the back of the building where there is another gentleman, I think he's an attorney, that owns that land behind, and he was very nice to not complain, let us put fill in there. And this other man complained that it was going to flood that man's land. Now, the man whose land it is has no complaints, because I checked. So, I don't know what to say to people. Sometimes you just feel like, sometimes people like to complain. But we're doing our best. We all work. We all try our darndest to try and get everything right. We work with our police. We work with our fire department. We have two extraordinary chiefs, so we better be thankful that we have. And we have a volunteer fire department. And, these guys come out. I wouldn't want to go out tonight and fight a fire. And I wouldn't want to be a police officer directing traffic at a fire tonight. So I think we're very lucky who we have for fire and police chief in our town. So, any questions?
I just have two.
Okay,
Just a
Marcia.
verification. How about that? Not even a question. The telephone and internet, it's about the fifth one down. It's an increase in the telephone and internet. And the telephone and internet for the public safety building is under the public safety on the general fund budget. So I'm just questioning what the increase in this one, in this fire budget.
It's for the Center Rutland
I like
station
pointing.
specifically,
Okay.
and we have added functionality to our phone system, so across the town.
Okay, perfect. And the only other question is the cable service is cut in half.
We found a much less expensive option.
Okay, thanks. That's it.
He works hard. And he has 5 people telling him what to do.
Or not.
In here.
Okay.
And the other good news is you still don't have to pay for this building, because so far we're paying for the first year of interest on the bond out of the 1% money, so that's nice too. Eventually, both bonds for both buildings are gonna hit, but not yet. So, we're up to number 5. Shall we raise $180,211.00 for use toward the operation of the recreation fund budget? And again, Sharon's up.
Okay, I'm going to start off by telling you, when recreation started in this town, there were 5 people, and I would name all 5, except that I would get something wrong. I know Carol DiNardo, Don Chioffi, Nancy Burgess, and there were a couple of others that worked to get Northwood where it's at. I came on right after that, myself, Larry Dell, Veneri, Ernie Chioffi, and we worked. I would climb down in the pool to scrub it, and they would scream at me because I was too little to get down there, but they couldn't fit down there. So they couldn't get down the ladders when there was no water. So, and I can remember hanging from a pipe across a pit to get the motor running. And then I'd get Tony Flory screaming, "You can't let a girl in there." Well, we did it. But it took many, many people to run Rutland Town Recreation and to bring it where it is. However, Mike Rowe, you'll notice that his salary has gone up considerably this year. Well, it's gone up considerably because Mike has retired from the school and is going to be running recreation both winter and summer. And Mike has done a wonderful job. I mean, if you go to Northwood, it is spectacular, and I give him a lot of credit. We also have a problem with the pool, so I'm going to make Mike come up, and he's going to get mad at me, but I need him to come up and explain to you why we have to look forward to the pool's 40 years old. Come on, Michael.
Can I just stand here?
No, you can come over here.
The camera's right there.
You could be near a
Oh,
microphone
well, yeah, that's
somewhere.
okay. The camera isn't going to break because of you.
What do you want me to say?
I want you to explain about the pool and the condition that the pool's in.
Oh, well, our pool was built in 1981, so it's been around 50-plus years, or thereabouts, so it's going to need to be redone at some point. So next year, we'll be starting to look at some different options for replacing the pool. So that will be part of my task as taking on the full-time director, as well as many other tasks. I already do a majority of the maintenance work there, so if you looked at the line item and you followed what I get paid, it's an increase of about $15,000 what I already currently make. So just so you know, the current directors around the area make around 50 grand or more, and so that's why I moved to that. It helped with that I was retiring as well. So that's basically the big change. along with more programming and taking the seniors, as Jim is very happy about, and so is Mary, the seniors under our wing as well, and doing a much more expanded program for them as well moving forward. So there's lots of things on my mind to do, and I'll be in the position to
Townwide
spend way more
celebration.
time on that.
Yeah.
Yep, townwide celebration, all things will be transferred over to me. So that's the increase for me, going to full-time. And then the only other increase on there was, if you looked at it, was the senior and the municipal side, as far as municipal retirement had to be put in as well, being that I'll be a full-time employee for the town. But I will not take any union insurance, so that, I'm off the books for that. So you don't have to worry about that. My wife is gonna take care of that. Pretty much it.
That's it, sir.
Do you have any questions on the budget? Marcia? Yes.
The maintenance labor is reduced.
Yes.
I just,
So this
you're
is
gonna
how-
be doing a lot
so-
more than maintenance?
Yep, so basically what happens is we have another maintenance worker that works over at Dewey and helps me out occasionally. So he's only a part-time and works about 10 to 15 hours a week. And so he will stay in that role, and we just basically just put the money that was originally in maintenance, we just did some shuffling.
Okay.
So that I'll be doing the same that I'm doing maintenance-wise, but I'm just gonna be doing more programming-wise. So that's why there was a decrease in that and an increase in mine, but we still had to keep that because also the highway department has skills that I don't possess and equipment that I don't possess that we often call on to do work at the park or at the things. No? Ab, did you have a question or were you just, no? Okay. Anybody else? You can wrap it up.
Okay. The only thing I'm asking, Mike, is that Matt and Mary and I are pretty darn good cooks, and I hope you use us wisely for the townwide celebration.
Sure. We'll use you, yeah, we'll use you. You can cook for the seniors too. Right? Now that you just offered.
Yeah, you just volunteered yourself up.
I know Jeff likes to
there
cook
you
too,
go.
so we'll get Jeff in cooking too.
Okay, I think that's about it. Anybody else? If you have any suggestions, call Mike. He's a good man. I don't like to, that's yours. He's a good man and I appreciate it. Yeah, we're pretty lucky in this town with its park, that's good.
So we even cook for some of the dogs at the townwide celebration. You just have to watch for when it drops on the ground.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, we got through all the budgets. All right, number 6. Okay, so we're now on to the appropriations, and I'm not seeing anybody that is likely to want to speak for any of these agencies. If you are, wave your hands. Somebody, I'll just go through them real quick here. So we got $670 for RSVP, $800 for ARC, $1,500 for the Southwestern Vermont Council on Aging, $3,000 for Child First Advocacy Center, $3,500 for the transit district, or the bus, $4,094 to the Chamber and Economic Development for the, I think it's for the marketing, but just as long with area businesses and municipalities with the ultimate goal of growing the economy. So, $1,094 for that. I think that's based on dollar per person, I think is what they were going for in the town. That's why they came up with that random number. Number 12, 4502 for Rutland Mental Health. $7,700 towards supporting the work of the VNA and Hospice of the Southwest Region. One of our favorites, $15,000 for scholarships to be awarded to 2025 high school graduates of the town of Rutland who have resided in the town at least 2 years and wish to attend institutions of higher learning. $15,696 for the regional ambulance. $110,095 for the Rutland Free Library. Okay, and now we have a couple of items on depreciation schedules. And yes.
Anyone would like to speak for the library?
Oh, yes, Joe, please do.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to speak on behalf of the library real quick. We are asking for about a 3% increase in tax support based on last year's budget. We are working to create as tight of a budget as we possibly can. However, with so many things, insurance as well as long-term support for our building, is costing more money. 3% definitely represents the tightest possible budget we can create. And it's one that also does anticipate potential inflationary costs due to this being a negotiating year with our staff. The library's been doing a lot of great stuff in and around the community. More and more students have been accessing it this year than ever before. I know that as our school librarian is something that we really do a lot with, especially when it comes to research, as well as also getting other books for students. And it's become definitely something that more of our children are also attending programs, including signing up for the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, which gets books into the hands of our youngest citizens from the time of birth until the time they are 5 years old. And that's been a really great support for a lot of kids coming in. A lot of our children that are born in Rutland Town, they are able to get access to a lot of books, and every year I'm more and more happy and less surprised that when I pull out one of my favorites that my son got from the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, and half the kids in pre-K are like, "Oh, I read that one. We got that in the mail." Or, "Oh, I read that one. We heard it at story time at the library." There's so many great things that are happening there, and it's benefiting all of our children, as well as the rest of the citizens in town. It's a fantastic resource for everyone, and it's something that is going to be benefiting all of us for years to come, as all of our young people keep growing up, and as all of us need access to more things. Thank you for any support you might give.
Thanks, Joe. Any questions or comments for Joe? Oh, okay. You're off the hook, Joe. Thanks. All right. Is there anybody else online who wanted to speak to any of the other of those organizations? Not seeing any. We'll go back to the exciting topic of depreciation funds. And earlier this evening, the board approved a couple of tweaks to the language that maybe you don't have anyway, so, well, yeah, it's only in the warning, so not everyone has it. But I'll read the correct language as we updated it. So Article 17 will be the Recreation Depreciation Fund, so it should read, shall the town of Rutland increase the rate of funding of the Recreation Department Depreciation Fund for the replacement, repair, and/or maintenance of recreation equipment and infrastructure from the present rate of .0125 per $100, or that translates to 1.25 cents, to the rate of .0175, also known as 1.75 cents, per $100 of assessed property valuation. And number 18 is similar for the Highway Department, and that is, shall the town of Rutland increase the rate of funding of the Highway Department Depreciation Fund for the replacement, repair, and/or maintenance of highway equipment and infrastructure from the present rate of .005, also known as half a cent, per per $100 to the rate of .01, also known as 1 cent, per $100 of assessed property valuation. Any questions or comments on depreciation? Anybody want to vent about inflation? No? Okay. Then lastly, we have the following list of elections taking place. Moderator, term of 1 year. Get your petition in. Otherwise, I might be back. We need a grand juror for a term of 1 year. We have 2 select board seats open, one for a term of 2 years and one for a term of 3 years. Lister for a term of 3 years, a second constable for a term of 2 years, cemetery commissioner for a term of 3 years, and 2 spots in the school board. Again, one of those is for 2 years and one of those is for 3 years. So plenty of opportunities to get involved if anybody wants to run. And then we'll transact any other necessary legal and proper business. And that's it for the warning. So any last questions or comments for this portion of the meeting? All right, then I guess what we'll do is recess momentarily while we switch over to the school board, and then we're going to go do some other business.